Ladies and gentlemen, President Donald Trump has fired the second salvo of the tariffs, and it looked as bad or even worse than the one that was launched 3 months ago. Let's watch on and see the implication of all this, and most importantly, my analysis and what's going to happen next. So I've called this new round of tariffs 2.0. So those that were fired on 9th of April that caused a massive downturn in the stock market, I call it Tariff 1.0. So 2.0 is worse than expected. Now, I didn't say it's much worse than 1.0, but I expected to be a lot more milder, but it turned out a lot more serious than I thought it would. So these are my usual disclaimers. It's not financial advice, and please subscribe for more updates. These are very critical moments right now. You do not want to miss a single piece of my video. So President Donald Trump has announced a new set of tariffs up to 40% for a growing number of countries. So this is a picture of White House Press Secretary Caroline, and he held a letter from President Donald Trump addressing to South Korean president, informing of the higher tariffs that his country could face. And she did that for quite a few countries, and this is no good. So President Donald Trump has cranked up the pressure on Monday on Americans' trading partners, firing off letters to head of several countries, informing them of the new tariff rates. Now, this is quite shocking because the new tariff rates are actually higher than what we expected. So these reciprocal tariffs are expected to go effect on Wednesday. In some countries, the letters Donald Trump specify new reciprocal tariffs that are higher or lower compared to 9th of April level, and I'll show them to you in a short while. So Prime Minister of Japan and South Korean President were the first recipients of Trump letters. Both countries kena 25% come 1st of August. And he also, about 2 hours later, he announced similar letters that were sent to Malaysia, Kazakhstan, South Africa, Myanmar, Laos, informing them of their leaders of new tariffs as high as 40%. Now, Malaysia didn't get 40%, but Malaysia is still hit hard. So later in the day, he posts up 7 new letters to country leaders of Tunisia, Bosnia. I can't pronounce this country's name, so I'm going to pass it. Okay, these are set at 30% tariffs. Indonesia, Bangladesh, Serbia, Cambodia, and Thailand, putting them a total of 14 letters delivered on Monday, as he has promised to do. So a quick glance of all these tariff rates, okay, the highest was Laos and Myanmar, right? They got hit at 40%. This is actually a discount from what they got hit on 2nd of April. Cambodia was hit 36. Thailand maintained the same. I'm sure Thailand will be very upset. Okay, part of ASEAN countries. We also take a look at Bangladesh, Serbia. Let's go straight down to Japan, which is a major trading bloc. 24% going up to 25%. I think, I don't know why the 1% make this kind of change. Malaysia got hit more than expected. It was 24%. I expected it to go down, but it went up by 1%. South Korea maintained at 25%. So all these are bad news. Indonesia maintained at 32%. So in the letters, Trump said that he takes particular issue that the trade deficit that the US runs with them. Now, trade deficit simply means that US buy more goods, okay, from them than the other way around. So this was the primary reason for some of this tariff. And he also said that these tariffs are also set in response to other policies that are stopping American goods from coming into these countries. So there are two yardsticks. Number one, do you have a trade deficit with US? If you have, he'll hit hard. Second is, do you have trade barriers against American goods coming into a country? If you have, you'll be hit hard. So from that perspective, hopefully Singapore won't get hit hard, but and Singapore runs a trade deficit against the US. That means we spend more money on US than the other way around. So he encouraged country leaders to manufacture goods in US to avoid tariffs. He must be out of his freaking mind to think that to think that we'll move to US to make those goods, which is so expensive, right? It's anyway, that's him. So in all 14 letters, he have included a statement that says that, okay, these tariffs, okay, will set to grow higher if you retaliate, okay? And retaliation will cause the tariff rates to go up. And these rates will be separate from sectoral tariff, right? This is a very important clarification. If there is a sectoral tariff, that means, for example, there's a current car tariffs, auto tariffs against Japan, the new tariffs won't stack on this one. So this is a good clarification because there were quite a lot of fears on it. But it doesn't matter. We're going to see whether all these countries will retaliate against the US and see what happens after that. Now, right now, there are a few big question marks. What's going to happen with EU and China? Now, specific to EU, there's no letter yet. So this one is something that EU is very concerned with. And EU spokesman say that, we are not going to comment on letters that we haven't received. The statement is that my understanding is that we can now expect extension of the current status quo until 1st of August to give further time for EU and US to reach an agreement in principle on a mutually beneficial agreement that work on both sides. Okay, said an Irish minister for foreign trade and affairs. I don't think that Donald Trump is afraid of the EU. So I think EU could possibly get something in a few days' time or within a few days. Collectively, US bought about almost $500 billion worth of goods from these 14 countries that received the letter. Japan and South Korea, okay, account for 60% of this $500 billion. So, rightfully they will get hit. And this includes largely cars, pharmaceuticals, semiconductors, machineries, blah, blah, blah. Now, the fear of all this is that when you set these tariffs high, there could be higher prices that are coming into American market. So that's the biggest fear. So South Africa is set to face a 30% tariff, which accounts for roughly half of the platinum that US import from other countries and was top foreign supplier of it. First of all, South Africa has no purchasing power. Second is US does not have platinum as a raw material. So, you put tariffs on them, what can they do, right? You cannot manufacture platinum in US anyway. So I guess in some sense it's a bit unfair. Malaysia, set to face a 25% tariff, was the second top source semiconductor shipped to US last year, okay, purchasing $18 billion worth of goods. So Malaysia, is set to be hit because largely of semiconductors. Bangladesh, Indonesia, and Cambodia, top manufacturing hub for apparels and accessories. I can't believe that all this will go to US for manufacturing. I just can't believe. Not a chance. Expect all these people who sold those clothes, to move all to US where very expensive. Can't be, right? So Trump's letter to Cambodian Prime Minister threatened a tariff rate of 36%, 13% lower than what has been put in place. So, I think Cambodia, I don't know whether they're celebrating or not. I don't think so. So the president argues that introducing tariffs will protect American businesses from foreign competition and boost domestic manufacturing and jobs. So this is protectionistic measure. Now, this is a bad reason for having tariffs. But economists, including myself, agree that these measures will raise prices and reduce trade. And currently right now, we shall see how the stock market react to this. So Treasury Secretary Scott Besson actually said that he expect a busy couple of days to come. We have a lot of people changing their tune in terms of negotiation. Of course, they played hardball with US. Now US slammed the letter. Now the kahunas just dropped, right? So my mailbox was full last night with new offers, a lot of new proposals, he told US broadcasters. So in some sense, this is also a negotiation tactic. You don't slap hard, people think that you're a sick cat, right? So there's a Chinese saying, 老虎不发威，你把它当病猫. It basically means that, if you don't roar and as a tiger you don't roar, people think you're a sick kitten, right? So I think this is just negotiation tactic, and I personally think that it will work. So far, US only struck deals with two countries, UK and Vietnam. So much about Donald Trump said that I'll cut deals, easily, blah, blah, blah. That's not happening. There's a lot of talks also that a deal with India is close to be closed. So I think that, all this will turn out in a somewhat favorable deal outcome. I didn't say it's good for the economy, but I say it's good for in terms of deal wise, Trump will probably get quite a lot of his way. So tariffs are now issued. Let's go back and take a look at the stock market impact, right? So when Trump first was inaugurated, was okay. Then suddenly he set this trade liberation day, which is announcing all those tariffs. It has a massive fall of nine, and then there was a massive rise again. And then it slowly climbed back and then hit record high, and on the process record high again. So the stock market is really erratic, and let's see what happens today. So now again, Donald Trump teased the possibility of additional negotiation and delays, saying that the 1st of August delay was not 100% firm, signaling that he remains open to continue to tweak the rates. Maybe we'll adjust a bit, Donald Trump said, indicating that he looks favorably on countries continuing to offer additional concessions. We are not going to be unfair. So again, 1st of August, and all these letters are issued, not cast in stone. Okay, he said, I issue already, but you want to discuss, I'm open to discuss. Okay? So not really serious about these tariffs. So how does the market react? The market so far on the futures right now, almost nothing. I didn't expect this kind of nothing. Okay, the Nasdaq also, in fact, went up a little bit, little bit. So in short, nothing. The market is just staying cool. Signaling that they are used to it. In fact, I think the TLT also went up a bit. So I'm pretty impressed with how resilient the stock market is. So the key takeaway from all this, okay, and this is my judgment. Number one is that the financial market seems to have affected a lot of this tariff news really. So they kind of anticipated that this will happen. So when the bad news is being absorbed already in the market, it have less impact. In fact, this time around it has almost no impact. So some impact is expected. Okay, moving forward, as they absorb more and more of this news, and when Trump issue a lot more threats and things like that, there's some impact is possibly expected, but I don't think it will go as bad as the 9th of April. The key thing is this, right? The key thing is this. Why is it that the stock market is not taking this in a big way? Is because the key market to consider is China, to a lesser extent US, the two major trading blocs. The rest of market, sub-water, right? So the rest of the world is noise to the financial market. So China and EU, in particular China, okay, will decide whether the needle will move or not. So with all these other rest of the world, I think Trump and the negotiating countries will somehow meet middle ground. When I say middle, doesn't mean exactly middle. I think it will move closer towards US. And we should also expect Donald Trump to flip-flop again and to confuse strategically, which is something that he had been doing since the day, I want to say the day he was in presidency, but I think he's probably in his blood to do that. Now, in particular, I want to make a comment about Singapore. We expect Singapore to be hit with 10%, and that's it. But I also realized that from the Vietnamese deal, there is a chance that Singapore will be hit with a higher transshipment tariff. That means for countries that make use of Singapore to transshipment out, they could be hit with a higher tariff rates. And that's not good because we are largely a trading hub, right, for the region. How would they view against that? It's very difficult to say. Okay, this is a developing news. Everybody should follow my channel very closely. I'll try to give everybody close updates. And if there are new updates that come along the day, I'll definitely do a live stream tonight to keep everybody informed. So remember, hit subscribe and not to miss this update. I'll see you tonight. Bye-bye.